parkrun adventurers. It's Lyndell, it's not Mel. I'm standing in for Mel. For long-time listeners of the podcast would know that I'm standing in for Mel just for a short time. And welcome to the podcast for number 160. G'day, Scotty.
Hey, Lyndell. I've got to tell you, I'm a little bit excited. I'm excited to be chatting to someone else other than Mel. Is it okay to say that? I think it's okay.
Oh,
I think Mel will understand.
I'm sure she'll understand.
Yeah. Absolute pleasure to have you. Thanks for agreeing to do this. And you say a short time, let's wait and see. Could be a long time.
Oh. I don't know whether I'm as funny as Mel. She's the funny one out of this duo, isn't she? And I don't know that I'm that funny.
Oh, don't hurt me like that so early on, Lyndell, in our partnership. I tend to think that I'm the funny one, but Mel is the public face of being funny.
I'm sure that's true. I'm sure that's true.
In my mind, that's how it works. Hey, now, I'm not sure how close you've been following the Parkrun Adventurers podcast, but what we usually do is we like to talk a bit of parkrun, and that usually involves us retelling our adventures of the previous parkrun day. So I'm keen to know, Lyndell, where did you get up to on Saturday?
This last parkrun day, I ventured along to Mitchelton Parkrun for their 6th anniversary. So Mitchelton is a fairly, well, not an inner city suburb, but it's not too far out from the Brisbane city area, sort of northwest of the CBD. It was their 6th anniversary, so that was fun. There was cake, there was delicious cake, and they had a theme. So for those of you who may be, reasonably newly married, you might know that the traditional and modern gifts for 6 years of being married are iron and lollies or confectionery, and so that was the theme. So I decided to channel Mel. I know Mel likes a good dress up, and since I'm a stand-in Mel, I did dress up. I went along as a licorice all sort, so that was fun.
So hang on, take it back. So the theme was iron and lollies, or was it just lollies? Did they drop the iron?
No, iron or lollies.
Okay. So it could be either.
Yeah.
Rightio.
Yeah, there were a few people there as dragons from Game of Thrones, and I think there was like an Iron Man, and a few people celebrated the iron.
Yeah, look, I like it. You got to get creative after 6 years, don't you, with the themes? I know at Westerfolds, I think we must be coming up to 6 years as well, and I think the event team might be start scratching their heads. So I like it. Iron and lollies. Yeah. And so how is it parkrunning as a licorice all sort?
Oh, not too bad. Look, I was a very abstract licorice all sort. I wasn't square. I didn't wear a box. As I said, I was a bit abstract, so I wore mainly black with some pink shoes and socks and a purple tutu and an orange buff. So that was my version of a licorice all sort.
Did you have to explain to people that you were?
I did have to explain to people. But that's okay. I was very happy to do so. I don't mind. I knew it was a bit abstract.
That's good. I think you're actually channeling me when you go with that costume. I think Mel's very specific.
Yes. Mel's costumes are very, very on point. Very on point.
Yeah,
she puts
staying
a lot
up until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, to get them right.
Exactly.
And so Mitchelton, I don't think we've ever heard much about Mitchelton. I've certainly never been there. 6 years, they must have some stories to tell. Or...
Yeah, look, it's a pretty reasonably sized parkrun. It's obviously very established, so they usually probably get 300 or 400 parkrunners along on any given day. It was a big day for them this week as well. Their long-time event director, Vince, stood down from that role, and they've got 2 brand newies in that role now moving forward with Carl and Luke. I had a bit of a chat to Luke on the day. He's a lovely young bloke. And Carl looked smashing in his candy cane outfit, so I think Mitchelton's in pretty good hands.
Good. When you say young, what do you mean by young?
Oh, well, not as old as me.
Okay.
I don't know, 25, 30, something.
Oh, that's great. No, this is great. I love seeing younger people involved in parkrun. I think, one area we really struggle with attracting is those girls and guys in their 20s. So to see an event director step up in that age group is awesome. We
Yeah,
need to have leaders. People need to follow someone. And if our leaders are of a similar age, that's how it happens. So that's
yeah.
great.
He was a lovely bloke. He came and had a chat. He's in good hands. He'll be great, I think. I've got high hopes for the event
Great.
director team at Mitchelton.
Good eye. Good eye.
How about you, Scotty? Where did you head?
I was in Queensland. I was in your neck of the woods last Saturday. We ventured out to Victory Heights, which I know about and I got excited about after you visited there and gave us a roving report and got me all
Yes,
excited.
I'm
Why
glad
did
you
you why
went.
did you go up to Victory Heights?
Oh, really boring reason. I went there to get my V.
To get you I thought that was it. Because that was the reason we went there. Because for those that don't know, and that's everybody outside of Queensland, I reckon. So Victory Heights is in a town called Gympie. Now, we were staying on the Sunshine Coast. We were staying at Noosa for the week, and Ivona and Kasha don't have a V. I already have a V, so I was open to going anywhere. But they really wanted the V, and so we weren't going to miss the opportunity. And after your report, and Mel's a big fan of Victory Heights, and I looked up their Facebook page, and it looked like an event that would suit me. So we headed there. But it's a funny one, isn't it? Gympie. Like what's Gympie famous for? I think I saw a billboard as we were driving in, and it's the town that saved Queensland.
Yes, it did. I can tell you all about it, actually,
Oh,
being a
do tell.
Queensland girl. So Gympie is famous for gold.
I thought so.
And yeah, so you may have driven past a big, I don't know, some kind of structure that they used to use to pull gold out of the ground. There's a lot of underground mines there. So it's not an open cut mine, it is literally tunnels under the
Okay.
place. And I think a lot of, back in the day, there was a lot of gold just in the creeks. But they discovered gold in Gympie at a time when the Queensland government was pretty much on their last legs financially and didn't have any money in the coffers. So they found gold at Gympie, and obviously the government got their cut, and Gympie saved Queensland.
Well, that's a good story. It's good to know because so it's an hour north of the Sunshine Coast, and we cut it fine. We cut it really fine because I might have taken a wrong turn. We reached the juncture in the road at one point, and we either had to go left or right, and neither Yvonne and I were really paying attention, and I took the call to go left, which actually sent us back to Brisbane.
Oh.
And added 15 minutes to the journey, and when we were already cutting it really fine, there was a bit of panic. There was a bit of panic in the car that we weren't going to make it, but we got there just in time, just on the stroke of 7, because remember, I'm an hour out of whack as well. I'm used to 8 a.m. park runs, so we're already up an hour earlier, and then we've got to drive an hour. But we were those tourists, or we were those park runners that were rushing from the car park, missed the whole event briefing. All we heard was, basically ready, set, go, and people were running off, and we had no idea where we were going. But we survived because, as you know, Victory Heights is it's a trail park run, and it's a narrow single trail course with a lot of switchbacks. So you get to see a lot of the other park runners while you're out doing the park run. But they could be 100 metres in front of you, but you could literally reach out and touch them. Just is the nature of the zigging and the zagging of the course. And it's also, what I liked about Victory Heights is that it's a sort of a one lap. And I think I think your parkrun experience is dictated by what you grew up in, essentially. So I grew up at Westerfolds. Westerfolds is a single lap course. So that's my experience of parkrun, essentially. I like the idea of starting at one point, going out and coming back and finishing at that point. Whereas I know there's a tendency in Australia, we have a lot of out and backs.
Yes,
and we even have a lot of out and backs. We don't have too many laps, multiple lap courses in Australia. but we have very few single loops,
Yeah.
which is what Victory Heights is. And so, I don't know, I just really liked it. I felt at home, like you're just out. Every footstep you take, the scenery changes. I didn't fall over, didn't join the stat club,
That's
but
excellent.
a lady in front of me did,
Oops.
and it was okay. I was the only one who saw it, so she was all right. And yeah, it was a lovely, lovely morning in Victory Heights.
Sounds like a victory all round.
It was. So put it on your list, not for the V, just put it on your list, is that it's a great place to go for a run on a
I
Saturday morning.
concur, Scotty.
Yeah.
It is a great place for a run.
Yeah, and you experience these new towns. So it's fair to say the Trickets would not have gone to Gympie if it had not been for parkrun. But we got to spend the afternoon exploring the town, exploring the railway yards, and we found a nice cafe to have breakfast in. So it was a great morning all round.
Terrific.
Now, Lyndell, some of our listeners may be wondering, it's great that you're here, but they want to know what's happened to Mel. She's not here, so that's a good indication that she has had the baby. And if you're not a Facebook
fill us
friend,
in, Scotty.
So
what's happened with Mel?
There is another Urbacher in this world. Mel has surrounded herself with boys, and so Emmett Avery Urbacher joined us last week. Very healthy. I don't understand this, never have, Lyndall, but he was 10 pounds. I think that's a big baby.
I think that's big, but I don't really know either, Scotty.
You don't know? I don't know.
No,
Why do we say pounds? I don't do pounds, but for some reason for babies we do pounds.
It's a mystery, isn't it?
Yeah. But I had the pleasure. We stopped in, and I got to meet Emmett and the rest of them. Mel was there too, which was handy. Caught up with Mel. The showman and Wesley were also in town in fine form, and everyone's doing really well. Well, they were last week.
Well, that's fantastic.
Emmett is healthy. Mel is firing. We caught up with her literally days after, and she was Mel. She was up and about, happy as you would expect, I guess, from Mel. Wesley's now 2, and he was in a very happy mood. He's a pretty cute kid, I've got to admit. And I'm not going to choose favourites just at this stage, because I've got to be fair to Emmett. He's only been in this world a week. But Wesley is a pretty cute kid, so he's nudging ahead just at this minute.
I'm sure Emmett is just as cute in his own way.
Now, what do you think of when you think of Emmett? Now, we'll let Mel answer this when she comes back and joins us. But when you hear the name Emmett, what's the first thing you think of?
I think of, books like Jane Austen books and things like that. That's what I think of.
Oh, really?
It's a very distinguished name.
It is. Well, here's the social experiment. I go straight to Back to the Future.
Oh, yes.
Dr. Emmett Brown.
Yes.
So, well, there's the tease for a couple of episodes' time to find out what's the inspiration behind the name Emmett. Last week we had a return to the regulars with Kelly and Charles joining us. This week, the coach is back after far too long, and I think he's got some company with him as well. So, welcome back to the podcast, Steve Dinneen.
Oh, thanks a lot, guys, for having me. Yeah, I've got my little 4-month-old son, Billy, asleep at my lap at the moment, and I've got my daughter sitting beside me watching Kung Fu Panda Bear while Mum's in bed at 6. So, I've got a little bit of company, but they should be nice and quiet for us today.
It's the norm now, it seems, for all our guests, and everyone's having babies at the moment.
Good time of year to get them out there and all ready for summer.
Exactly. Now, nice lead-in, Steve, getting ready for summer. Let's lead off with, I've had a long break and we need to start getting fit, getting ready for summer. Is it too far out to start planning for sort of that marathon race season that is coming at the end of the year? Should we start thinking about that now?
Yeah, so my big belief with all this is the earlier you plan, the better your result's going to be, generally. So I have a lot of guys that say to me, should I plan 10 weeks out from the marathon? So you can plan 10 to 12 weeks out from marathon. If you plan 20 weeks out, you should get a better result. Plan 30 weeks out, you get a better result. So I think preparation is the key. The closer you plan to the race, the less time you have for the hiccups to go wrong. So I think preparation is ideal, and definitely I'd say to most people, I'd be starting now, if not in the next month, and not leaving it to the last second, where you increase chance of getting sick, chance of getting injured. So yeah, now plenty of time, and the further you can do it out, the better your tab will be.
So Steve, I am a little bit less fit than I have been in the past. Let's say I won't get into what's happened to get me into that state, but I've noticed I've lost a bit of strength and a bit of conditioning, and I feel like I need to get that back. So have you got any tips on some strength? What are the best strength exercises for runners to just build that core strength and leg strength back up?
Okay, so when you're trying to build back up and get strong, you've been out of the game for a while, there's a few components, and the main one that I tell most people is just build up real slowly. And the idea of that is, if you've been out for a while, one thing you've done is lost condition. That might be in the muscles, that might be in a fitness example, so your heart and lungs. So the key for you, you've been out from a while, is just start up really slowly. And for some people that have been really out of the game and lost fitness, it might mean start up walking. Others that aren't so far off might mean start jogging real slowly. And then how far and how long you go, again, starts at your level. So as long as you can get through it comfortably, you'll be fine. The number one tip I give to most people, start off walk jogging. Walk for a minute, jog for a minute, and do that 10 times. And once that starts to feel a bit more comfortable, 2 minutes jog, 1 minute walk. And everyone's quite familiar with the Cash to 5K program a lot of people do. That's an example. If you haven't been out for a long time and you're just trying to learn how to run again, start off something like a Cash to 5K, where you literally walk, jogging, more jogging, running. And once you build a base fitness, then you can look at doing sessions after that and longer runs.
But Steve, what do you say to the people like myself, for example, who get really frustrated because I know what I used to be like and now I'm here and it's a much slower pace and I just don't want to walk, run.
Yeah, and I get that really well. I understand that people often think, I used to do this, used to do that. The thing is just to get a realistic check on where you're at. Just because you want to do that doesn't mean you can do it just now. And if you try to force yourself, the chances are you'll get injured and you'll get more setbacks, and they'll even make you feel worse. So a guy like me at the moment, I'm not far from my 40th birthday. What I used to do when I was 30 isn't what I can do now at 40. It doesn't matter how hard I train now, I won't be able to run, try and get down towards 29 low, sub 29 minutes for 10K anymore. I'm trying to get below 30s. So you've got to be kind of realistic with where you're at. As frustrating as it is, end of the day, if you push your body too hard, too early, too soon, things can go pear-shaped really quick. And rather than saying, I've been out of the game for now 3 months, I've been back running for 3 months and I keep getting injured, and now that's 6 months, that's 9 months. So really, it's just whatever spot you're in, listen to your body. The bigger your base is, the easier jogging is, the quicker you'll get to the goal you want to achieve. If that means you start off, for the first 2 weeks walk jogging, it's much better than doing that than spending 2 weeks running, 2 weeks injured, 1 week running, 1 week injured, and going along that way for the next 6 months till you're frustrated and then want to give away the sport and have another break from it. So I just think, listen to your body, be kind to your body, and work into it easy. Enjoy where you're at, because while you walk jogging, it won't be too long till you're running, then you're doing longer runs, and before you know it, you'll be going for long Sunday runs going, gee, I'd like to have a bit of an easy day soon.
One thing we've been doing in the Dinneen Runners, and one thing I've benefited from enormously and helped me avoid injuries, is drills and strides, and I've introduced it into the Westerfoldians as well. And so what we do is we do a few active drills as opposed to doing the traditional stretching method. So can you go through, break it right down? So what's the difference and why do we do that and what are the benefits? There's a few questions there.
Yeah, no, for sure. So back in, would you believe, in 1999, I did my sports science degree. And back then we were told, look, we're sort of heading a different way in the sports science world. We're doing less stretching and more dynamic stretching, which is the drills. And the idea of the drills is to actually get your joints, your hips, your ankles, your knees through the range of motion. So part of the dynamic stretching is that while you start doing the drills, you're putting your body through the ranges as they warm up and stretch. Rather than go and do a 20-minute jog, you stop and do static stretching. And in that 15-minute static stretching, you go cold. So the idea of the warm-up is to get the muscles ready before you do your session. And what they used to do in the past is go do a jog, stop for 20 minutes, stretch, and suddenly you got cold muscles again. So you're kind of really avoiding those muscles cooling down. The second part of the drill is actually teaching the body the biomechanics patterns. So when you're running, you're teaching yourself how to stride in the way your legs need to move, the way your arms need to move. So I tell a lot of my athletes is if you can't do these basic drills where you've got knee lift, you've got your stride, you've got your heel flip and all that, if you can't do it over 20 metres doing some drills, how are you going to do it over a 5K park run where you take roughly, 5,000 steps? You can't do it over 10 steps, you got no chance. So we're kind of teaching your body the motor patterns in those drills as well. So the drills and strides, the idea of that is firstly to loosen the body, warm it up, stretch it so you don't get injured. The second part of the drills and strides is to actually get you doing the motor patterns so the legs go through the ranges that they need to go for running efficiently, effective and fast. And then the third thing was the actual strides itself. We do 4 strides, 70%, 80%, 90%, 95%. And the reason you're progressing up is one, that each stride you get a little bit faster and further, things stretch out. The second part of it is also actually on a biochemical level, that as you go through the warm-up, your blood pHs all start to change as you start to introduce oxygen deficit and that in your body. So there's actually so many reasons why we do it. But to make it simple for everyone, 1, to allow the body to warm up, 2 is to get the biomechanics and the motor patterns working, and 3 is to allow the chemical change in your body start to adapt. Rather than going from a cold car motor to a hot car motor, you're warming the motor up before it starts to race, if that makes sense.
It does to me. Do you do them before every run, or is it just when you're doing a hard session or racing?
So, because I do 3 sessions a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I do it 3 times a week. With a lot of my newies, I say them to do it every second day. Go out for an easy run and out the end do it, because you've got to then teach your body how to go through those techniques and patterns. So for me, I know how to do all the drills. So yeah, 3 times a week, or if I'm racing, I might do it on a Friday just to sort of loosen the body up. But a lot of people that I'm sort of coaching initially get them to do it more frequently just to get used to it. And that almost becomes their session. Do the warm-up, which might be 20, 25-minute jog, then do your drills, do your strides, and your run's done for the day. If I was to do a big run, so let's say we're doing Melbourne Marathon, you'd probably find the Thursday or Friday before Melbourne Marathon, I'd do a half an hour jog, drills and strides, and leave it at that. And people with all the fun runs around Australia probably notice about 10 minutes before the start of a race, or 20 minutes, all the elites are at the front doing these run-throughs, strides and all that. That's what they are doing before their race. So their optimal performance is ready to come out.
Good to know. Now, the other thing is you don't do it on your slow run, and this is something that I struggle with. Making sure that my long, slow run is that it is slow. I have a tendency to run too fast. And I know you're going to tell me, Steve, that I've got to slow down. But tell me why I have to do my long run slow.
Okay. So at the moment, the way we do it is, one of the biggest problems in Australia is lots of people do their slow runs too fast and their fast runs too slow. That's the biggest problem. People run too much in the medium area. The idea of you doing your slow, long runs is about recovery. So when you go for a nice, easy run, you're allowing the blood to go through your body and pretty much filter through the muscles. And that way you clear out all the waste products and all that in the body. And you're also allowed to recover and heal. So an example is, if you went out and did a fast 5K right now, park run, Saturday, you did a fast 5K, and didn't do a cool down after, which might be a walk or a small jog afterwards, you'd find Sunday you wake up a little bit sore and stiffer. That's because all the waste products that you've done in your run are still in your legs. So with your Sunday long runs, we work on clearing the body out, letting the blood go, filter through, and recovery. The second part of a long, slow, easy run is about getting base fitness. All you're trying to do is just get nice and easy, work your heart and lungs, develop some strength. When you jog at an easy level, you actually develop more blood vessels in your legs. When you do a lactic run, lactic acid damages them. So the idea of a slow run is to clear your legs out and build that vascular, the blood supply to your legs. So again, a long, slow, easy run is pretty much about recovery. And the idea of that is so your heart and lungs recover along with your muscles, and you also get the extra bonus of getting some extra k's in your legs and some extra fitness.
So, Coach, I'm a pretty slow runner, and I've done a lot of longer events in my time, and I think that's part of why I run so slow, apart from probably lack of natural talent as well. Is that a bad thing? Should I be trying to run faster, or is running slow okay?
So that's a great question there in terms of it's good to do long, easy runs, slow and get fit. But then what you've got to also do is sometimes during the week, do a run which is a bit quicker and break up your stride. So if your body starts to run too slow all the time, then that becomes a template and it just runs slow all the time. So that's where the strides come in handy. So even if you're just building up fitness, you might just want to, at the end of one run, do some strides, which is a bit faster work, 100 metres, stride out, do that. And then you might want to introduce one other run a week where you just go for, let's say, a half an hour run, and for 5-10 minutes of it, you run it a little bit faster. And once a little bit faster, if you're jogging at 6-minute K pace, if you get down to 5:50, 5:45, that's enough to start with. And over time, that will actually help. So, for her, once a week, picking up your run to run a little bit faster, it will, in the long run, make your slower runs faster, but feel just as easy. Does that make sense?
Great tips, Steve. It's great to have you back. Away far too long. And the kids behaved.
Kids are always good here, mate. I'm very lucky with my kids. They're very chilled out.
Billy's sleeping?
Yeah, Billy's sleeping and Brookie's pretty relaxed, just happily watching some TV for once. So I'm quite lucky there. And even when I go racing, they're all pretty relaxed and chilled out. So I'm fortunate to have kids that let me do what I need to do.
Good. Well, maybe next time we have you on, you can give us some advice on juggling life running balances, because you seem to do it pretty well. Thanks for coming back on the podcast.
No, thanks a lot for having us, and hopefully give some good tips there for people, and good luck to everyone out there running.
Hello parkrun adventurers, it's Scott Watkins here, and I've actually got 2 adventures to talk to you about. The first one is just me talking, but the second one has a few more interviews, but the first one has an important lesson. So first one took me a couple of weeks ago to West Park Parkrun in Munich, Germany. Now this is another event for me in Germany, and parkrun's really growing there. I'd previously done the Hassenheide Parkrun in Berlin. So West Park Parkrun, just to give you an idea of the course, it's a double lap around a lake. The path is mainly gravel, a few paved sections. It's really pretty. A large part of it is just a shaded path where you're not actually really close or even within sight of the lake. It's a little bit undulating, but the hills are not challenging at all. So really, really nice. And being a double lap, you get to see some people on the second lap. Now, the locals there were a mix of British expats who live in Germany and a lot of Germans. The run director on that day, Charlie, was a British guy who did an admirable job of doing the run briefing in German. And the adventure part for me came while I was standing there listening to Charlie, and I thought, oh no, I've forgotten my barcode. Now, I'd already told the team that I was involved in parkrun in Australia and that I was visiting, so I couldn't tell them that I'd forgotten my barcode because it would have just created an awkward situation, because we all know the rule, no barcode, no time. So I'm standing there during the briefing and I thought, this is either going to be a freedom run or I can try and solve this problem. So I quickly pulled up my phone and did a search for internet cafes, and I found that there were 2 pretty close by. So I thought, okay, I can do this. I had a look at last week's results, saw that the tail walker had come in at about 45 minutes. I thought, okay, that gives me about 23 minutes after I finished running. So I set off and ran, and I finished in about 23 minutes. And then I, without sort of saying anything to anyone, I put my finish token in my pocket and I ran to an internet cafe. Now, the first one was closed. Google had said that it would be closed, but I thought I'd check because it was closer. So I kept running past that, ran to the second one, managed to talk to the guy in German, work out how to log on, printed out my barcode, pay him the 90 cents, and then run back to parkrun. Now, the journey to and from the internet cafe added about nearly 2.5 kilometers to my run. So my 5K parkrun turned into a 7.5K parkrun, but I got back to the finish line at about 40 minutes. So the tail walker, who I'd actually seen on the first lap, they weren't back yet, so I managed to present my printed barcode and my finish token and get scanned and record my parkrun adventure. So yes, I know you can buy tags. I have tags. A whole combination of new shoes, being in a foreign country and deciding not to take my wallet, and I didn't take any of the barcodes that I do have with me along. So important lesson, people. Don't forget your barcode, but it is possible to problem solve. And I should say I was prompted to think of this idea because we've actually had a few people do similarly at Albert Park over the years, run to Officeworks and print out their barcode. So yeah, great time in West Park Parkrun, and Parkrun's really going places in Germany. There's lots of new events on the horizon, and I look forward to doing some more when I'm back there for work. Now, adventure number 2 is the event that I have just finished, which is Recplex North Parkrun in Pensacola, Florida. So I, again, was in the US for work, and I flew into New Orleans, arriving at about 7 p.m. on Friday night. I then thought, I'm just going to grab a car and drive across to Pensacola. Now, I knew it was a long drive, but I probably hadn't thought it totally through, that spending 24 hours on a plane and then getting in a hire car to drive 300 kilometers across 4 states probably wasn't the optimum idea, but I honestly felt fine and did it okay. So yeah, leaving Louisiana, I drove across the border into Mississippi, then across Alabama, and then into Florida, and got to Pensacola about 10:30 on Friday night. So I booked a hotel there, got up the next morning. Parkrun's in Florida at 7:30, so earlier start for me. Turned up, it was a really beautiful morning, probably 28 degrees, quite humid, very sunny, and was greeted by the team who I'd got in contact with beforehand, and they were all happy to see a visitor from Australia. And I set out and did the run, and it's a trail course. It's really beautiful, and I managed to speak to quite a few of the team who've put it together afterwards at the parkrun. So here's what they had to say. So now I'm here with Alison at Recplex North Parkrun. So Alison, how did you find out about parkrun?
I found out about it on Facebook, and I saw it was on the University of West Florida campus, and it was going to be the first college campus in the United States to host a parkrun. And I know there's nice wooded trails that are shaded, which is great in Florida, especially in the summer when it's hot. Would love to run in the woods, but normally doesn't feel safe. But when you can come out with, 100 people, 80 people, however many show up on a Saturday, it's nice, it's safe, good opportunity to make new friends.
That's great. And how many have you done?
I have done 12, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, it just started in January.
Yeah.
Or February, actually. So.
Yeah. And have you met new people?
Lots of new people. Yeah, we socialize after, meet for coffee at Starbucks. So yeah, it's been a great experience. I love it. I normally don't like to get out of bed on a Saturday, but I get up every Saturday for this.
Excellent.
Yes.
Great. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying parkrun. Thanks for talking to us. So I'm here with Robin. Now, Robin's the co-event director here at Recplex North Parkrun. So, Robin, how did parkrun get started?
Parkrun got started here. I came across parkrun in Ireland, Marley Park, 2014, and thought it would be a no-brainer for the US. And came back, and people were looking at me as if I had 2 heads. Free. How are you going to do it? And I did another park run at Bear Island in West Cork, and came back again and read an article in the Wall Street Journal whose headline was, "Would Americans take for free what they usually pay for?"
Yeah.
So anyway, we got down to work, and finding a suitable course was an issue. But we have a lot of nice parks in Pensacola, but they're all small, and nobody wants to do 10 laps in the heat or more. So we found the University of West Florida, and they want to be a destination campus. They want the local people in Pensacola to come visit the campus. So this was like pushing an open door, and they had the trail that was disused, and we got to work on it, a group of volunteers, and here we are.
And you literally hewed the trail out of the woods?
We retrieved the trail, yeah. It was pretty tight, closed in. You were pushing briars apart when you were going through it before.
Okay, well...
We also had, obviously, help from the University of West Florida maintenance staff, but our volunteers are really the guys that have been whacking it out there.
And so for the listeners, just describe the course.
Well, we liked it's a wooded course, natural course, lots of roots on the trail. We like to call it as undulating. Some people call it very challenging, but it's certainly not a course for baby strollers. We had one last week, Guy, and we told him, hey, we don't think you should do this. And he said, well, he was an English guy, so that makes an allowance for something. So he was giving it a try, and when he came back, he said, it wasn't bad. But he was a strong fellow. I hate to see a young lady picking that up.
Yeah, it would be challenging, I think, with a stroller. So good.
He
all
worked
power
up
to him.
he worked up a good sweat, I can tell you. He was ringing.
Yeah. And how long have you been in Pensacola?
30 years in Pensacola.
Okay.
Yeah.
What brought you here?
To the States. Initially, it was the Irish economy downturn in 1983, early 80s. We came and we spent 5 years up in the New Jersey area, and then we came down to Pensacola.
Okay.
So,
and what's this city like? What are the major industries here?
Pensacola is mainly tourist.
Okay.
Mainly tourist economy. We have a local paper mill. They're getting into aerospace now at the airport. They have aircraft repair just started, maybe 1,000 jobs. And we also have Navy Federal, a big credit union, which has brought 10,000 jobs to the Pensacola area.
Okay.
All good jobs. So Pensacola's on an upswing, and we got parkrun to cap it all.
Great. Well, thank you for bringing parkrun here, and thank you for having me today.
You're
Thanks.
welcome. More than welcome.
So now I'm here with Gabby, who's with the Pensacola Runners Association. So you're the president, Gabby,
Yes, sir.
and you've brought along a group today to parkrun. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know exactly how many people came here from the Pensacola Runners Association. I guess at least 50. But we have helped promoted and funded most of the stuff that they have here in Parkrun. And we encourage people to come here every Saturday to do the 5K and then hang out after the run.
Did you already have a run on Saturdays before parkrun started?
No, we have social run on Thursdays. We have also 5K in the Gulf Coast Brewery, and we have also the Monday group that trains here in the university with Coach Caleb. But and we put a couple 5Ks, but organized 5Ks during the year.
Okay, so parkrun fitted in pretty well with your schedule already.
Yeah, because it's another social run that we encourage and offer our members to come and do.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you for all you do for parkrun here, and I hope it keeps going well.
Thank you very much.
So now I'm here with Austin, who's the volunteer coordinator here at Recplex North Parkrun. I'll get it right eventually at the end of the morning. So Austin, how did you find out about parkrun?
So I'm friends with Caleb Carmichael, who started this with Robin Foley, and I knew they were getting it going, and I've been running trails out here for years, and so Caleb talked to me about potentially helping get stuff going, and then the guy who was previously doing the volunteer coordinator, William Cutler, he moved away, and so I took over. But before that, I've been helping out, and I like seeing the trails get used. These trails here, they weren't used for a decade, so there's no cleaning of them or anything like that, and it got to, you really couldn't go on them. And so Robin and Caleb, they got all this started, and they got the trails cleaned up, and it's nice to introduce people to other ways of running besides just running on the road.
Yeah, and have you met new people through this?
Yeah, I mean, especially through doing volunteer coordinator, just, interacting with everybody and encouraging people to come out and volunteer and come and run. So yeah, I've definitely increased my base of people I know in town and, different runners and stuff like that. So,
have you done any other parkruns around the world yet?
This is my only one. I was actually in D.C. in early April, and I was going to try and hit one of theirs up, but my plane was leaving too early, so I didn't get to. So this is still my only one, but I want to do the other ones.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for talking with us today.
Yeah, thank you.
So now I'm here with Caleb, who is the other co-event director here at Recplex North Parkrun. So Caleb, how did you find out about parkrun?
Robin Foley, actually. He was the first guy who brought it up. I had never done a parkrun before, believe it or not. He gave me this crazy idea about people running, and it's free, and it just was a strange concept. When I'm used to racing, I have a coaching background, so it was a unique concept that I really I'm not sure this will work here or not. And after getting it, kind of the ball rolling, we started figuring out, hey, people may like this.
So you're a pretty active runner?
Yeah, I run anywhere from 80 to 100 miles a week most weeks. And I also coach the University of West Florida here. I'm a cross-country coach.
Okay.
So I have a lot of background in coaching and running. So, yeah, I'm quite busy with it. And it's nice that I actually had the course right here on campus to utilize.
And do you see many students coming along?
That's the hard part. The students are lazy. So I'm trying to get students to encourage to get out there. We're trying to find some ways in the fall, maybe use some incentives through the university to make sure people can come out and use it.
Yeah.
But it's actually more of the general community, which is great. And we'll have multiple races in Pensacola that weekend, and people still come out and do our park run and keep our numbers high, which is great.
And what about the volunteering? Where do you see them coming from?
Volunteers were park runners who came out, and then some of them decided to help. And really that's what it was. We had a small number of volunteers to start off with, and people came out and liked the idea and concept and want to contribute in some way, and that's how we got our volunteers.
Yeah, and have you met new people in the community through parkrun?
Oh yeah. I mean, because generally, I'm obviously my background racing. I tend to do well in races. Most of the faster people kind of gravitate to the faster pace. So I get the back of the pack kind of walkers and runners, and really neat getting their perspective and cheering them on and understanding. And listen, everybody's out here having fun, having a good time.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you for all you do for your community. It's great. I really enjoyed the event today.
I appreciate it.
Thanks. So here I am with a few more runners, and this is their third park run. So who have I got here?
Courtney Martin.
Cindy Martin.
Shannon Martin.
Okay, and mum and two daughters. So how did you find out about parkrun?
We just moved up to the area, up to north Pensacola, and UWF's right across the street from our neighborhood. Found out about it and just thought it'd be a good way to get some exercise, not have too much fun on Friday night, to be able to get up on Saturday to run and then meet people.
And have you two met some people here?
No.
Not yet?
No.
No? Oh.
Yes, we have. Maureen.
We met Luigi.
And then the coach for UWF track team.
Do you do some running outside of parkrun?
Yeah.
What sort of running?
The duathlon and the sea turtle triathlon.
Okay. What part of triathlon do you like best?
The biking.
Biking, okay. And what about you? Do you do running outside?
I did cross country last year at my school.
Okay. And have you been enjoying parkrun, or does Mum have to drag you along?
She has to drag me.
Okay. You? Dragging or enjoying?
Enjoying.
Okay. Good.
Yes. We like it.
Well done. I'm glad that you found parkrun, and there's over 1,000 parkruns around the world. So your barcode now is your passport to doing parkruns all around the world. So enjoy.
Cool. Yes. Thank you.
Great. Thanks a lot. So now I'm here with Elizabeth, who is a very enthusiastic parkrun participant. So Elizabeth, how did you find out about parkrun?
I found out about parkrun through my mom. She likes to read the newspaper a lot, and she kept encouraging me to come.
Does she come?
She has come once.
Okay.
She did not complete the whole thing because she's 86.
Wow.
And so she walked 2 miles of it. And I told her no, I wasn't going to come do it because I work at UWF and it's like a 30-minute commute, and I didn't want to come back on a Saturday morning at 7:30. But I came the first week, and I've been coming every single time since. I love it.
Wow. And so what's your mix of participating and volunteering?
I volunteer as much as I can, and a lot of the times I try to do the processing results so I can run as well, but it's just wherever they need me.
Yeah. And you've met new people through parkrun?
I've met a ton of new people, a ton, and it's been so much fun getting out and knowing everybody and just making connections at UWF that I haven't made before, because we do have faculty and some staff that come out, and I'm really working to try to get student participation up. So I work with the ROTC group, and I'm working with health and fitness and some of our other departments to have students come out. We've had faculty say they'll give extra credit, and so we're trying. 7:30 is a hard sell for a college student, though.
It is. But I think, once they understand it, as you have, they'll
Absolutely.
enjoy it.
Absolutely. It's fun.
Have you done any other parkruns yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
I'm waiting. I really want to go to Weeden Island. I've kayaked there. But my next one is going to be Goat Trail up outside of Chattanooga in Tennessee.
Okay.
That's the one I want to go to.
Excellent. Well, I'm sure that once you discover parkrun tourism, that'll add a whole new level to your passion?
It is on my bucket list.
Yeah.
That is like my goal now, is to hit every park run in the world.
Okay, well, that's a big challenge.
It's a big challenge.
But you can come out to Australia and parkrun adventure in Australia anytime you want.
I would love to come.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks, Elizabeth. Thanks for everything you do for your community.
Well,
That's
thank
awesome.
you for coming out and visiting us in Pensacola, Florida.
Thank you. So that's it. A really great morning at Recplex North Parkrun in Pensacola, Florida. So I didn't add that if you look at a map of Florida, Pensacola is up in the top left corner, the northwest of Florida, and there was another recent launch, so there are now 4 parkruns in Florida. So if you're traveling to the US, make sure you check a map, because there's pretty much a parkrun a week launching in the US, and it's really growing strongly now. So, yeah, a huge thanks to both of the teams in Westpark Parkrun in Munich and Recplex North Parkrun in Pensacola for being so welcoming to me. As you heard in those interviews, the passion for parkrun is the same all around the world, and I am very lucky to get to visit some of these places when I turn up there for work. So I appreciate them, people being so welcoming and friendly of me. Towards me. So it's Scott signing off from another set of Parkrun Adventures.
Good morning, Parkrun Adventurers. It's Melissa here, and I'm coming to you from Curl Parkrun. I've got a big Parkrun Adventure weekend this weekend. But firstly, can I congratulate Mel, Adam and Wes on the arrival of baby Emmett. Well done, he looks beautiful. But back to Parkrun. We've just finished the course here, and I've got with me Sandra. And Sandra ran her very first Parkrun today. Good morning, Sandra.
Good morning.
How did you find it?
A lot of fun. It was a good course, interesting and pretty. Yeah, nice.
And how did you find out about Parkrun?
Through somebody I ran into a few days ago.
And you're a local here?
Yes, I am, yeah.
So you thought you'd come down and...
I did, yes, because she and her husband come regularly, and even in England, that's where he started doing this. So, yeah, instead of running by myself today, I thought I'll join the gang.
Yeah, and how did you do?
I don't know. I think I ran like I normally do. I think it's a fairly average pace.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so you're a gym instructor, you said?
I am. Yeah. Group fitness instructor.
So Parkrun's been a very good way for people to get into fitness.
Yeah, great way, because gyms aren't for everybody, that's for sure.
I have to admit, I've never been to a gym myself.
Well, you know what, I don't blame you. But certainly it's the great outdoors is always going to be better for you mentally. And physically it's great. There's no pressure. No one's looking at you. You just do your own thing.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, thanks for talking to me today, Sandra. I hope you come back.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Now I'm going to find where they have coffee.
That's the second best part of Parkrun.
That's exactly. That was the other thing that got me lured into. Thanks so much.
All right.
Thanks,
okay, I've got with me now Kim and Dana. Now, Kim, I believe, are you one of the longest-standing EDs, if I've done my parkrun homework correct?
That's correct. I think I'm the third. I think who's the ED at Albert Park? I think he's sort of the longest standing, and then Paul Wilcox. So for St Peters, and then me, I believe.
So have you been here since Curl started?
Yes. Yep, May 2013.
Wow. Can you tell us about the course?
Sure. It's a lovely course. It's probably one of the fastest in Sydney. So you sort of do it's more of a figure of 8 around a parkland. It's got the hockey fields, the soccer, the netball. So it's really quite a sociable sort of Saturday morning. And, where we start, we've got sort of the toilets, the facilities, and then we go for coffee afterwards. So we've really got everything within 5 minutes. It's great.
You get big numbers, don't you?
Today, I don't know, Dana, what are we up to? About 300?
We're at 350 or more by now. So probably going to get close to 400 today, and that's winter. So.
And Dana, I commend you on your run brief.
Thank you.
You're very confident. What's your story in parkrun?
I started parkrun about 6 months after parkrun had started at Curl, and I just heard of it through my substitute science teacher, Ken, who is one of our regular runners here, and he was like, "Yeah, everyone, you should run. It's really good for your I think we were talking about cardiovascular health or something like that." So then I decided to do it, and then in 2014 I was volunteering regularly, and then in 2015 I started becoming a run director, sorry.
Yeah.
And even though it's technically not allowed, but because I was under 18, but yeah,
I'm sure you're
I was endorsed by the Australian CEO, yeah, Tim. So it's all good.
Very good. And what's the history of Curl Parkrun? Who got it started?
So I actually started it.
Right.
The course itself was actually, I guess, discovered by Debbie Soms. So she runs Bexy, which is sort of a Northern Beaches running club specialising in women, running triathlons and things like that. So her and her husband Martin actually founded the area, but because of their day jobs they couldn't commit. And so when I was coming back from the UK, I was like, I want to do parkrun. There wasn't one on the Northern Beaches. I was in contact with Tim and he goes, do you want to set it up? I'm like, sure. What does that mean? And here we are.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Very friendly, welcoming community here. And I've really enjoyed it. And I look forward to the longest run tomorrow. I'm going to join you guys.
Great.
So, yeah, early start we've got on the fun bus.
We do. 5 a.m. pick up.
All right, we'll see you there.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, that's it from me from Curl Parkrun. And in typical tourist fashion, I've got to walk my way to find the coffee. Sydney, what's going on? I thought it would be warmer up here. It's marginally warmer than Melbourne, warm enough by my standards at least to be in a t-shirt. The Sydney people seem to think it was cold. Anyway, I'll find a way to fill in the day exploring the beaches at Manly, and I might check in with you tomorrow after the longest run. Bye. Good afternoon, parkrun adventurers. It's Melissa here, coming to you from the longest run in Sydney. We've just completed event number 5 at the secret location, which turned out to be Mona Vale Beach. I've got with me Ollie from Shell Harbour. Hi, Ollie.
Hello.
And brand new parkrunner Emily. Hi, Emily.
Hi.
So, this has been an amazing adventure today. Sydney, what's with the hills? Mona Vale has some hills and it has some beach running, and it's not the easiest course to run for your 5th park run, but it is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. We've had stunning weather here today. Haha, Melbourne. The sun's in Sydney.
Eventually.
And they've been fabulous hosts today. We've got another couple to do. The legs are very tired. And so, Ollie, how are you finding it?
It's starting to hurt, but it's a lot of fun.
Which has been the standout today for you so far?
Look, I think it was it Rouse Hill? Rouse Hill was pretty beautiful over the hill and with some of the mist still there.
Yeah.
And still a few nice ones out there. Wildflower, again, brutal, but lovely.
Hills.
Galston, hills. But this is something special. So
it is, isn't
it?
It's just the view's just amazing. And Emily, so you joined us at Wildflower, and you're new to park running. So this is a new experience.
Yeah.
How have you found it?
Don't know if I want to run again or never run again. We'll see. It's probably a good thing to run, but it hurts.
Well, not every park run's like this. Generally, you just do one, and
generally there's less hills, hopefully.
And yeah, pick a nice flat one. Now, did you say Centennial Park's going to be your home park run? So I would think that's relatively flat. I haven't done that one.
I heard someone called it easy. So.
Well, that's good. So, are you going to front up next week to Centennial?
No promises, but maybe. I'll get there eventually.
Okay. Well, it was lovely to meet you today.
You too.
And we might check back in after the last park run.
Yes.
Okay, so the longest run's finished. It's been a fabulous day here in Sydney. And I've got with me, friend to the podcast, Paul Rainbow. Hi, Paul.
Good evening, Mel.
And it was great today. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming up.
I've had a ball. So we had East Richmond Park Run first. In the fog?
In the fog, which was pretty much we couldn't see anything.
But it wasn't raining and it wasn't cold, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, it was perfect. Other than couldn't see anything.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
And then we had breakfast.
Well, the breakfast was great. I just want to say, we had actually a great location for breakfast because normally they're so slow, but we had a great turnaround.
That's right.
And then we went off to Rouse Hill after that, which I was surprised because the guys from Rouse Hill, the EDs there, turned up and set up the whole course, which is absolutely amazing. Because it's actually really confusing, well, not confusing, but there's a few turns that you could go the wrong way. So they put all the cones out, and it was great because they ran well as well, and then they would have had to go back and pull them all down.
Yeah.
And then where did we go after that? We went to Galston, and again, all the EDs came down and helped us out. We had Karen down at the junction point showing us the first lap, second lap. So it's great to have those volunteers out on the course because it makes life so much better for the longest run.
I think the event teams get a kick out of hosting.
They do. When you say you're part of this longest run, they appreciate it, and we try to get them involved and just want to let them know that we're going to be there.
Yeah. And then Wildflower was next?
Wildflower for our hilliest run.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Yeah, that's all right. We wanted to test your legs. But yeah, Wildflower was nice. Again, we had such great weather. We probably had our best turnout at Rouse Hill, but then at Wildflower, or Galston and then Wildflower. But at Wildflower, we had quite a few numbers there.
Yeah.
A few people turning up for just that run. Yeah, it was a nice course. Some of the people just did the 3K rather than the 5K option, which was something you can do at Wildflower.
And I loved the touch of the special secret park run.
The secret park run,
right.
I love that. So this is something I've been building up for a while because I've been wanting to create a new park run on the Northern Beaches for probably about 4 years. So it's still not there yet, but it's something that I'm proposing to council, and it might be a few months, it might be a few years away, but it's something that I'm wanting to do. So when we've done the longest run before, we have included proposed park runs before. So I thought, well, this is something that could happen, and it hopefully will happen. What did you think about the course, Mel?
I loved it.
You loved it?
Well, I didn't love it so much after already doing 4 park runs.
Did your legs love it?
My legs were a bit cranky about the elevation.
Yes.
But it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful place. So why would you not want a park run there?
Did you stop at the top of the hill and look around at the scenery?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a bit like starting on the beach. You got the swimming pool right there. You got people doing laps. You're starting in a great location. You got an absolutely awesome view at the start. Run down the beach and then up and over the hill and do a couple of laps up around the hill.
Because we can't have enough beach running in our
No,
park
of course not. Yeah, well, I was going to mention on the page, definitely bring a second pair of shoes because one pair could get wet.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah.
That would have been handy.
Yeah, it would have been handy. Didn't want to make sure anyone guess where we were running though.
After Mona Vale.
Mona Vale,
we can say the name now, is that okay?
Yeah, you can say the name, yeah.
Okay. It was in Mona Vale.
Yeah.
We had a nice flat curl park run.
Yeah.
Which was also well attended.
Yeah.
And finishing up at Mossman in the dark.
Finishing up at Mossman. So the planning side of things, we need to add more time in for, I guess we could say it as social / communication / chatting / whatever you might want to say. But I need to add in some sort of factor for that because I've really just got driving and running as the only 2 factors. So next year I'll add in a bit more calculation for chatting, which I think was the main reason
it's called socialising.
Socialising, sorry. So that was the main reason we were about an hour-ish late, I think, at the end of the day. So not too bad, but we did definitely start in the dark, and there's quite a few people with head torches, quite a few people with just the white sticks. I don't know what they did, but we were just shouting at them at distances saying, yeah, we're over here, this is the corner, turn here.
Oh, it's all part of the adventure.
Yeah, true.
So, but you've done a brilliant job, like the attention to detail with all your maps, and I know your social media page, the information there and the posts that you put up in the updates made it so easy for us.
Yeah.
So thank you.
That's right.
Yeah, and I look forward to maybe joining
next year.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll do a different 7 park runs. I can find a tougher course for you.
Can you stretch them from Melbourne to Sydney?
No. Unless we do. This is what I was thinking. What we could do. Could we do 7 states in a weekend? 7 states and territories. Sorry.
You reckon?
Maybe. I was looking at it the other day and I was like, can we do maybe Simpson Desert or something and do a loop? Get a plane down to
Tassie might be difficult.
Tassie, I don't know.
Yeah.
Go down to Victoria from there. Can you get a plane? I don't know. I was considering it, whether you could actually do 7.
We get a helicopter. Oh, and I noticed, I got to say, on the Mona Vale course, you've got a helipad.
We have got a helipad.
I took a photo of that.
Yeah.
I was very impressed.
So we've got obviously the defib, but obviously we need a helipad as well for, in case of emergency.
Safety.
That's right, safety reasons. Yeah. So it's all provided by Parkrun Australia. So they fork up the cost of the helicopter in. But yeah, that's at the junction point after you've done the 2 laps of the hill. So, it's a perfect place to put the helipad.
It is, yeah. It's convenient.
Very convenient, yeah.
All right. Well, we better wrap it up.
All right.
Thank you for a brilliant weekend.
Yeah. Have a good trip
in
back.
Sydney. I will. And all
I'll
the best.
come down to Melbourne soon.
You're a bit of a celebrity. It took me a while to get time with you.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Mel.
Our gender balance was spot on this week with the roving reports, as we heard from Scott Watkins, the president. He's quite the international traveller. First, he was in Germany with his tales of lost barcodes or forgotten barcodes, and then he was in America. He gets around. And then thanks to Mel Ellis, who ventured up to Sydney, went to Curl. She had a 7 a.m. start at Curl, and then she did the longest run. So it's good to hear a report. We haven't chatted about the longest run at all this year. So thanks for giving us an update on that. Mel Ellis, Lyndell, have you got any plans for the longest run this year? Still thinking about it?
I have just missed the North Brisbane one, which was on last weekend, and South Brisbane is on in a couple of weeks. South Brisbane is on the weekend, actually closest to the equinox. So who knows? I might get along to some of the runs or all of the runs when that happens in a couple of weeks' time.
Yep. Have you done a longest run before?
So yes and no. Last year I missed the North Brisbane one because I was away somewhere. So I did the North Brisbane events, but on the day of the Sunshine Coast longest run. So I did it all by myself, which was a bit lonely. And it got a bit hard by the 6th or 7th one, but I got through it.
I was going to say, that's not how it's supposed to be done, Lyndell. You're doing it all wrong. Like, it's good that you're doing it, but I think it works really a lot better with other people.
I think you might be right, Scotty.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'll tell you what, it's a similar tale for me this year. So because we were away and the longest runs down here fell on Sunday, the weekend just gone, there was a western version, there was an eastern version, and there was a Gippsland version down in Victoria. So lots of choice. But I wasn't here for any of them. So I selfishly decided to do my own. I made up my own rules. I invited some Westerfoldian mates and a couple of the other local running clubs around close to us. And we did our own shortened version on Monday.
Oh, yeah, long weekend Monday, yep.
Yeah, so we had a long weekend down here
in
Victoria. So I did a 5-event version, and I was also a little bit pissed that Westerfolds wasn't included in any of the other longest runs. So I thought that was a criminal injustice. So in my little version...
you just did Westerfolds 5 times?
Yeah, we just ran 5 laps of Westerfolds.
Yeah.
No. We basically went to the 5 events around me. So as I said, very selfish. But also they're 5 events that I've actually all got a connection to. And so I did this silly thing. It could have been viewed as quite an ego trip, but I did this story time with Scott before each of the runs. So I sort of just told the people who joined me a bit of the history of the event, because essentially I was involved in all the events that we ran. Because I kind of get it was an ego trip, but I also think that the people that are joining in these longest runs are parkrun tragics, and they kind of want to hear stories about the history of the events. And if I'm in a position to tell them because I lived them, I thought I'd give it a try. And I think.
And was it a winner?
I think so. They got longer and longer as the day went on. I don't know if I got more confident or if I started thinking about them a bit more on each run. But it was interesting. So we finished at Westerfolds, and I didn't really have anything prepared for Westerfolds because I thought everybody knew it. But I came up with something, and I got emotional again, Lyndell. I think the power of this bloody parkrun community, it brought up some emotions because I talked about how much I love that silly park and how much this sense of calm comes over me when I drive through the gates, like I'm coming home. I've watched my daughter essentially grow up. So she started in parkrun as a 4-year-old, Now she's 11. When she grows up and she's having these conversations at dinner parties, hopefully she's going to mention, my parents dragged me along to the park every bloody weekend. But she'll also have stories about surrounded by this parkrun community and this running group community called the Westerfoldians that she all knows. And so that's the story I told.
It sounds like a terrific experience, Scotty, and one day you'll have to tell me the story of Westerfolds Parkrun because I'd love to hear it.
Yep, one day. You got to come to Westerfolds.
I'll have to come to Westerfolds.
If you come to Westerfolds, we'll have a 4-hour breakfast after parkrun, and I'll tell you whatever you want to know. Yeah, I'll tell you the stories that we can't put on the podcast as well, because I got plenty of them.
Yeah. I bet you do, Scotty. Look, it sounds like you said it was an emotional experience. I think that people love hearing people's stories, and people love. I could listen to anybody talk about pretty much anything that they're passionate about, Scotty.
Yep.
It's a wonderful thing to do, and it's a wonderful thing to share.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was inspired by Dottie at the Palm Listener meetup. So he gave that great speech before our Freedom Run at Newey, where again he got emotional, and again he got emotional talking about people. And so I thought, that was an engrossing 10 to 15 minutes with Dottie when he was telling the stories of this event that I'd never been to, telling stories of people that I never knew, but I loved every minute of hearing it. So I tried to evoke that feeling when I was telling my stories a little bit towards the end. So you're right.
Fantastic goal.
Yeah.
I think that's terrific, Scotty. I wish I had been there.
Next year. Yep. Because we've started a new tradition. So it's a breakaway longest run tradition. Only 5 events, which is a lot more sensible too. And I was really struggling on the 5th.
Yeah.
I couldn't have done another 2. I can tell you that now.
Oh yeah. We'll see. Well, I'll if I get along to South Brisbane 1 and I get through, I don't think I'll get through 7 to be honest. But anyway, we'll see.
Now back on track. Anniversaries. We have no launches again this week around Parkrun, but we do have anniversaries at Burley Griffin in the ACT,
Careen Glades in Western Australia,
Dolls Point, New South Wales,
Mernda in Victoria,
North Shore, Queensland,
Port Sorell in Tasmania,
Wangaratta in the Great Estate,
and Yeppoon in the Great Estate.
No, Yeppoon's in Queensland.
Yeppoon in Queensland.
Where are you heading this Parkrun Day, Lyndell? Can you share?
Yeah, I am heading along. I'm doing a bit of work on my P index, and I'm going to head along to New Farm. Is the plan?
How many times have you been to New Farm?
This will be my 5th time at New Farm, and I need to get it to 6 to get my P index to 6.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I like New Farm. I've run there once before.
New Farm was my very first park run.
Oh, really?
Back in the day, yeah. So it's kind of like going home, but Bunyaville, as everybody knows, is my new home and my spiritual park run home. So, but New Farm's a pretty good second.
I'm going to put you on notice. I want to hear about your Patient Zero, your Parkrun Patient Zero next week.
My Parkrun Patient Zero?
Yeah.
You might have to fill me in as to what that is between now and next week.
But there you go. There's another tease for next week. We can hear about Lyndell's Parkrun Patient Zero. But you mentioned your P index.
Yes.
We had some exciting news during the week that the V index that Mel came up with a couple of weeks ago has been added to the running challenges, the Chrome extension that we all love and some people obsess over. So big thumbs up.
Thumbs up, all right.
Yeah, to Laura and Andy, and also Pete Johns. Pete Johns, he did the nerdy stuff, did some nerding on the computer and came up with something to help that happen. So Pete Johns is one of our ambassadors here in Australia. So do you know your P index, Lyndell?
My V index?
No, your V index?
My V index is 3.
Okay.
So I've done But interestingly, I've done 4 different volunteer roles 3 times each. I think I've figured it out and I know what I'm doing, and if I just marshal one more time, I can get my V-index up to 4.
There you go. Yeah, it's the same as the P-index, but in roles. I'm getting my head around it. But if I think it's the same as the P-index, but instead of events, it's roles, it makes sense.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't get my head around it for a little while. I didn't
I
get
know.
it.
It's very confusing. It's very confusing, but I'm all over the P-index.
How's your P-index going, Scotty?
Well, as I scroll up, my P-index is sitting at 7, but I'm really close to getting that to like 9 or 10.
Cool.
But I've just got to commit to getting back to those events multiple times. And it won't happen this week. Well, I'm playing a really long game because I'm going back to Rosebud Parkrun this week, and I've been there before, so that'll take me up to 2.
It's a very long game if you're already at 7 or 8.
It is, and Rosebud's like an hour and a half away from home, so I can't imagine I'm going to be visiting there too often. But
yeah, but if it's a nice park run, it's worth going back to, you know?
It is, and it's the antithesis of what I'm used to, what I was talking about earlier. It's an out and back,
right?
Which is like the complete opposite to a single loop.
But you know, the out and back, it's a good opportunity for high fives. An out and back and out and back. So all of the different kinds of park runs have their place.
They do. I think we survived, Lyndell. I think we did okay. Were you nervous?
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, it's over now. You can relax. That's a wrap on 160. Look, I'm going to make the big call. You're going to be back next week. Despite I did tell Mel that it's not up to her, it's up to me when she's ready to come back. And I think we're going to give her at least one more week. So will you do this again with me next week?
If that is okay with both you and Mel, I will be back next week.
No, it's okay with me. So that's good.
It's okay with me.